I need to sit and just chill for a second.
Be more chill.
There's our cold open.
Dear listener, today's going to be a good day, and here's why.
Because today, we're starting this podcast. I'm Becca.
And I'm Iny, and this is Sincerely Us, a podcast for the casual musical theater fan.
So today we're going to be talking about how we got into theater, how theater has affected our lives, and things like that. But before we do that, let's talk about how we became friends.
We met, for lack of a better term, through a Facebook fan group?
Yeah, I would call it that.
For a podcast that we both very much enjoy, Bacon and Eggs, a movie lovers podcast, with new episodes every Thursday, available wherever you get your podcasts, and now on Spotify. About a year ago, and have not actually ever met in person yet.
Being the key word.
I live in Miami, Florida, and Becca over there lives all the way up north in Maine.
Pretty much as far away as you can get on the eastern seaboard.
Yeah, that's about right. On the opposite, on the complete opposite side of the eastern seaboard. And eventually Becca, came to her senses and joined the Discord for Bacon and Eggs, and we started to get to know each other more.
No, wait. What happened first?
My mom friended you on Facebook.
Wendy is the true matchmaker of this love story.
So, my mom is also in the Bacon and Eggs Facebook group and interacts with people from time to time. And there was some sort of Harry Potter question asked in the group, and Becca responded with Ginny Weasley, and my mom fell in love. Because my mom is also a huge fan of Ginny Weasley. And
because she's the greatest Harry Potter character that's not Harry Potter. She is perfect for Harry. Listen, we could have a whole podcast with me just talking about how perfect Ginevra Weasley is what I was going to say. Weasley is.
Okay, but no. Anyway, so my mom was like, oh, I friended one of your friends in the Facebook group. I'm like, I don't know half of those people. Like, who did you friend on Facebook? So my mom, was like, she's so sweet. You guys are going to be great friends. I'm like, I don't even know her. And then fast forward, 3 months. And Becca finally joined the Discord. And we, clicked instantly. And it was great.
And then Iny has regretted it ever since.
Regret is a strong word.
Okay, listen, I'm not a double texter. I'm not a triple texter. I am 20 texts in a row, unashamed, 50 Snapchats. This is just how I am. I have no shame. And so you definitely have regretted it the second you gave me your phone number.
Okay, so again, regret is a strong word. But I think my biggest, I don't even want to say problem, the biggest issue is that you wake up so much earlier than I do. So it's not even that, I step away from my phone and I have 7,000 text messages and at least 40 snaps. It's that I wake up in the morning and I'm just bombarded with all of these notifications.
And DMs on Instagram, and tags on Discord, and DMs on Discord.
And literally any way that you can get in contact with me.
Literally.
Yeah. So we've known each other for real for about 9-ish months.
Yeah. I'd say we've been best friends for 6.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah.
That seems right. So let's say 6 months. So we've been pretty freaking close for the past 6 months. And in May, I took a cruise for 7 whole days.
Why are we bringing this up?
And I came back from the cruise and was like, okay, that was a lot of space. We need to figure something out where we're forced to talk to each other at least once a week.
Oh, regardless of the millions of texts we send each other constantly.
Regardless of that. So we came up with the idea of starting our own podcast. And the topic, at first I was like, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. And then Becca was like, duh, musicals.
Theater.
And I was like, okay, you're right. And so now we're here.
Yeah, and pretty much our biggest musical that we bonded over was Dear Evan Hansen. And so that's why we called it Sincerely Us. And like, it's going to be loosely based around Dear Evan Hansen. Now, listen, listeners. Iny saw Dear Evan Hansen that I totally forgot she saw it for like, it was like 2 months ago, right? When did you see it?
In March, yeah. Ish.
March, a long time ago, 3 months ago. And I see it next month. And y'all, I am just going to sob my eyes out. I literally cry thinking about it. The overture is going to come on because I'm fourth row center and I'm just gonna, oh my God. Ben Levi Ross is going to walk on that stage and I'm going to die. And this, like, her and I both react this way, like, to theater, even
Yes.
thinking about it. So this is why this podcast is so perfect for us, because we constantly are just crying. We're going to cry so much of this podcast.
I am constantly sending snaps of Becca of me, like, watching YouTube videos or like listening to music on Spotify. Like, I'm just sitting at my desk at work sobbing right now.
Listen, Angelica Schuyler and Alexander Hamilton couldn't be together, and then Elizabeth? Yeah, her name's Elizabeth, right?
Yeah, Eliza, fine.
Eliza.
It is
For
Elizabeth,
some reason,
that's fine.
Elizabeth came out. I mean,
Well,
that's
that's her name.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
I do.
So like, just their whole journey, and then like,
Stop. I need you to stop right now. We are not starting it this way.
okay, we'll do a whole episode on Hamilton.
I am not crying day one.
That's kind of like the backstory of us as friends. And so let's talk about the backstory of us with theater. So what was the first show that you remember, like, really being into?
Okay, so definitely the first show was Phantom of the Opera. And my first memory wasn't even seeing the show itself. It was, my mom had the original Broadway cast album. It was 2 CDs. I'll never forget that freaking CD box. And, like, I remember being first, maybe second grade, and, like, just waking, staying up all night playing video games with my brother, like, Friday nights or during the summer, whatever it was. And then just at, like, 7 in the morning, my mom would blast Phantom of the Opera on Saturdays.
I can just hear that organ.
Like, to be woken up by the beginning of Phantom of the Opera is just, like, it's a little traumatic. But also, I mean, we loved that show. So I would get up and I would already know that my mom was cleaning the house. So I tried to stay in bed as long as I possibly could. But yeah, and that was kind of the first show that I was ever introduced to. I mean, unless, not counting, musical Disney movies, but like actual Broadway show, like that was the first one. And my mom took us, my brother and I, to go see it when it traveled down here to Miami when I was 8, 9 maybe? I was super young, much younger than all of the other middle-aged women watching Phantom. But yeah, and just like being at a show for the first time and like everything's live and like the freaking chandelier falling and just it's such a magical, like it was such an amazing experience for me. And that was it. It was love at first sight. Like the first show, I wanted to go to all of the shows after that. And I've been to quite a few. I'm lucky enough to live in, a major city where I have a performing arts center that all of the national tours come down to. And if they don't come down all the way to Miami, there's another performing arts center up in Broward, which is like an hour away from me, which is where I saw Hamilton. And you can't see, but I smiled when I said that.
Like grinned.
And, I'm fortunate enough that, I have 2 options as to where to see the national tours of a lot of shows. So, yeah. What about you?
So, my story is kind of similar. I definitely, when I first saw my first show, that was it. Like, I was set, ready to go, wanted to be an actress, all of that. But my first show actually was Annie. And I assume I had seen the movie before I actually saw the show. That's just an assumption because I've seen like all of the Shirley Temples and stuff like that. So I assume that Annie was thrown in there too. But my mom took me and her best friend and her best friend's daughter, which is also my best friend, Megan. Mm-hmm. It's confusing. But they took us to see Annie at like a local theater that I actually just saw Newsies at and it's one of the best theaters in the area, in my opinion. It's about 45 minutes from me. It's not a national touring one, but more of like a quote-unquote local theater. That's local for me, because I live in Maine. It's actually New Hampshire, but it's fine.
So the theater's not even in Maine?
No.
Okay.
We live very different lives.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And so we went to go see the show, and like we got all dressed up, and we went out to dinner in this fancy restaurant and all of that, and it was like this big, huge deal. And I don't remember much of the show, but one of my favorite parts was that I remember watching Annie and the dog like walking across the stage. Now listen, Sandy was played by this little teeny terrier, not a golden retriever, which like,
blasphemous.
Fine. Right. Whatever. Work with what you got. At least he was tan, you know? But I just remember the dog pooping on the stage. And like, now I know it was a stagehand that like ran out with a plastic bag and picked up the poop.
Oh my God.
But like, that was one of the first times where I was like, oh, I'm actually watching something live. Like, I'm not watching this on TV. Like, there's going to be mistakes and stuff. And I think that that was the first time that it clicked in my head. At that point, I'd been taking dance for about a year. And so, you know, I've been dancing, specifically clogging, for like 19 years. And so my whole background has always been like either on the stage or behind the scenes or anything like that. And it like first sparked with that first show with Annie, which is crazy to think about. Like, I tell my mom all the time, it's her fault that I'm like this, because she introduced theater into me like when I was so little and just kind of sparked that.
I tell my mom the same thing. She very often gets very annoyed with the amount of musical theater and original cast albums I listen to. And I told her she has no one to blame but herself.
Yeah, like I every time my mom and I go on a long car ride, and by long I mean like an hour and a half, so not that bad. I'll literally be like, "Well, can I listen to music?" And she'll look at me and she'll be like, "Which album are we listening to today? Like, which cast recording is it today?" And most of the time, it's Newsies. It's fine. I need to be a paper boy the whole time in the car. It's fine.
That's so funny that you say that, because whenever I drive up to, I have a cousin that lives about 2.5-ish hours away from me. And anytime I drive up to her house, I usually drive with her little sister, my also little cousin. And it takes exactly one Hamilton cast album for me to get from my house to her house with some traffic. Give or take traffic. But yeah, the cast albums are basically my long distance car ride entertainment.
Well, yeah, I went to school 3 hours away, 3 hours north, even further than I am now. I know, right?
How?
You do realize there's like 9 hours between me and Canada.
Oh. I just
like,
assume,
I'm not that
I
north.
assume that you just live like on the border of the United States and Canada.
No, all the way to the top there's like nothing there.
That's where I assume you live.
No, I live near the southern tip.
Oh, okay.
I live right near New Hampshire.
Okay, well, I understand that now.
But when I was driving back and forth, for background, I went to school for backstage theater. Like, I wanted to be a stage manager. And when I was driving back and forth, like every other month, I would say, it was 3 hours. And so it would take me a whole Hamilton cast album, and then I could get to like the wedding again, and then I would be home.
But the wedding helpless or the wedding satisfied?
I can't remember exactly. Oh. Probably satisfied, okay. I would say. Because those are the ones I know the best. So, like, I assume that it's up to satisfied because I know all of the words to every single song up to that point. And then I can just, like, kind of fudge my way through the rest.
I know a lot of those words.
I know, you reference it way more than I can even keep up with. There's a lot of words in that musical.
There's so many words in that musical. I was listening to it today when I was cleaning, and I was just like, man, it's a lot of words. It's a lot of words.
And also, it's a good thing that we like use it as a timestamp because it's probably the one of the longest cast albums besides like Les Mis, but it's because they're both fully
Like,
sung.
fully song, yeah.
Yeah.
Minus, like, 2 or 3 scenes.
Yeah. So another one that I kind of had a real connection to with my grandmother, because she was another one that really liked musicals. Not obviously as much as me because I'm an outlier, but her big thing was The Sound of Music. And I actually got to do The Sound of Music. I worked behind the scenes for The Sound of Music, and it still is one of my all-time favorite musicals. And every time someone asks me what my favorite musical is, Sound of Music is just never in my head. And then 16 going on 17 will come on, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is one of the greatest musicals of all time. Julie Andrews is a queen.
Oh my god, Julie Andrews. I love her so much.
I think Mary Poppins may be the best Disney musical, just because it's like an actual musical.
I cannot commit to an answer. I just had like 7 Disney musicals run through my head, including Newsies. And
yeah, I forget Newsies counts. But I mean, like, they didn't make a movie with the music besides the live recording.
But
so that doesn't count.
It's literally a Disney musical.
Yeah, but it's not like Mary Poppins.
No, I understand that. Again, I'm not committing to an answer at all. Like, I refuse to commit to an answer.
Now I'm, like, panicking. What if I listen to this in years to come, and I'm just, like, screaming at myself because I remembered all of a sudden another musical, and I'm just yelling at myself in my car listening to this. I don't know why I would be listening to it, but it's fine. Okay, but before we get too far, this is not a Disney fan cast at all. Like, even
Contrary to popular belief, this is not a Disney fan cast.
Just because Broadway ends in Y doesn't mean it's a Disney podcast. So, kind of off of Disney, we're going more Warner Brothers side. One of my, like, favorite fan musicals, I guess I would say. To be fair, I only really listen to Star Kid when it comes to fan musicals, but a Harry Potter musical is truly a work of art. And I'm saying that as someone who hasn't seen it in, like, 5 years.
As someone who has never seen it, please don't end our friendship.
Iny. How have you never seen a Harry Potter musical?
I don't know.
Two of your favorite things.
Yeah. If you count Darren Criss, there's 3 of my favorite things.
These are a few of my favorite things.
I don't know. I have never committed to actually watching it, even though it's free on YouTube.
I mean, it's
which
like
is
3 hours
another
long.
one of my favorite things. I don't know. I mean, I know I need to sit down and watch it. I just haven't. I have no excuse.
How is there not a Walt Disney musical?
Like, about Walt Disney?
Yeah. Why? They should just listen. One of my favorite movies is Saving Mr. Banks, and I would like that to be a musical. And I can see the hesitation on your face, and I don't care.
Listen, Walt was a
bad man.
he was a person.
He was a Nazi sympathizer.
He was definitely a controversial human being. I don't know if I were alive when he was alive, or if he were alive now, I would particularly be a fan of him as a person.
Yeah, I don't think I would.
So I don't know how I feel about a musical made about him, but yeah, Saving Mr. Banks is a great movie. Tom Hanks is a gem.
Well, you say that, and yet The Greatest Showman exists, which is about how wonderful P.T. Barnum is, which is a straight-up lie. The whole musical is a lie. I don't even consider it a musical. I mean, it is.
It's a musical. It is a musical.
It's a movie with songs.
All right, whatever.
All of those songs could exist by themselves. Musicals have to lead and be a part of the whole story. I'm not done.
Okay.
I am done.
Okay. I don't want to interrupt. I don't disagree with you entirely. P.T. Barnum was a garbage human being.
Yeah, actual trash.
The movie was not as terrible as you're saying it is.
Okay, but The real reason I hate it is because it has Hugh Jackman in it.
I know.
Okay, like, okay.
We
so
have
there's
different opinions on Hugh
I
Jackman.
hate him.
I don't at all.
I don't think he's good. Okay, listen, this needs backstory. I love Chris Colfer, and this may not sound like it's related, but it is. He did this song on Glee called Not the Boy Next Door, which is one of my favorite solos he's ever done. Do you know who originated that on Broadway? Do you know, Iny?
Who, Becca? Tell me.
Hugh Jackman. I love how defeated your voice sounds. You're like, who?
Wait,
Hugh
when did
Jackman.
he sing that? When on Glee did he sing that? Was that
I don't remember. That's a long show.
Was that his Miata audition piece? I think that was
maybe. He had gold pants.
That was definitely his Miata. That was the one where he was planning on singing Phantom, and Rachel talked him out of it. I watched Glee religiously.
So did I. So did I. But, and then I was like, oh, this is from a musical called A Boy Named Oz, or whatever it was. A Boy from Oz. And I was like, oh, I should look up who originated it and look up the cast album. Listen. Hugh Jackman, I have no words. He is just not good, and it bothers me. And he ruined Les Mis.
Oh my god, he did not ruin Les Mis.
He ruined Les Mis. Two people I dislike so hard. Him and Amanda Seyfried, or however you say her name.
I don't know, and I don't like her either. But Hugh Jackman was not terrible.
He was terrible.
He was not terrible. Bring Him Home was definitely not it. But
which is one of the greatest musical theater songs of all time.
I agree. I can literally listen to Jeremy Jordan sing that on repeat because I have. But that's a whole separate conversation on Jeremy Jordan. We'll have an entire episode on Jeremy Jordan.
Jeremy Jordan, Queen's Edition.
I love him so much.
Me too. Just take a moment of silence for our Lord and Savior, Jeremy Jordan.
Okay, what was I saying?
I don't remember.
Okay, so Hugh Jackman's Bring Him Home was not great. It was not great. I'm just gonna flat out say it was not it. He did not nail it in any form of way. But I don't think he was that bad. Like, I enjoyed the rest of his I remember enjoying the rest of the movie besides Bring Him Home. And Amanda Seyfried?
I don't know. She's in Mamma Mia. Another show I don't like.
You're just negative Nancy today, aren't you?
No, it's just all of these things keep coming up.
Let me tell you something about Mamma Mia 2. I don't remember Here We Go Again. I don't know what the hell the movie was called.
Well, okay, listen. So I can't say I don't like it anymore. Okay? Because I feel like I saw the movie at some point and then I just hated it because I love ABBA and I do not think that girl did a good job of doing ABBA.
Didn't you just see it live and you said it wasn't that bad?
Yes, that's where I was going.
Oh, okay.
And, like, it was okay. But I think it might be because I saw it with my best friend Gina, and it's, like, one of her all-time favorite shows. And, like, you know that the people you go see a show with are totally what make the experience.
Oh, absolutely. About 95% of the musicals that I go to, the shows that I go with my best friend Christy. Now, here's a little bit of backstory on Christy. Christy and I met when I was a freshman in high school. She was a junior. She's 2 years older than me. Okay. I, at the time, was already super into musical theater. We were in band. We met at band camp. Make all the jokes you want. And I remember we were at her house and we decided to go to Blockbuster and go rent a movie. And we were looking through the movies and Rent was actually on the shelf. I'm like, oh my god, we need to rent this. Haha, renting Rent. And I told her, I'm like, this is one of my favorite musicals. My dad took me to see this last year, and super awkward because, sex and drugs and AIDS. But yeah, I saw it with my dad. And And it's one of my favorite musicals, and I think you'll really like it. And I'm like super into musical theater, and if we're gonna be friends, you have to be into musical theater too. Well, we're basically what happened. So we rented the movie, and we went back to her house, and we sat, and I sat watching the movie, and I got excited. They got through the first number, and I look over, and Chrissy's passed out, asleep, completely knocked out, snoring, everything. And I'm just like, well, I guess we're not gonna be friends. So I tried again the next day, and we tried again the day after that. We tried again like the week after that, and I think after like 5 attempts, she finally sat through the whole movie and was like, "Oh my god, this is so good!" And I was just like, "Yeah, I know. I've been trying to tell you that for the past 2 weeks." So Rent sort of became our thing, and we finally in that was like 2005. Well, the Rent the movie came out in 2005, so I had to have been like 2006. In 2007, they came down. The show came down to Broward, I want to say, and my mom got us tickets, like center orchestra, like 8th row, 9th row seats, like amazing seats.
Yeah.
And it was Christy's first like national tour Broadway show, and it was amazing, like phenomenal. And the experience was better because it was literally just my mom, me, and Christy, and like we had been obsessing over, all of the Rent music for like 2 years before that, and going with her definitely made it an even more special experience. And like, we've gone to dozens of shows since then, and most of them are together. And then when frickin' Hamilton came down, they basically make you sacrifice like your firstborn child in order to get tickets, because that's what you have to do in order to see Hamilton. And they made you jump through all these hoops in order to get tickets, and you could only buy 4 tickets. Like, you weren't allowed to buy more than 4 tickets. So Christy and I were on the phone together trying to, get our tickets, and we weren't able to get tickets for the same day. And it was like super heartbreaking. We were very upset. Christy ended up seeing it before me, and she called me after she saw the show, and she's like, "Listen, I loved the show. I thought it was great. It was everything I wanted it to be, but it wasn't the same. Like, something would happen in the show, and one of the songs would come on, and I would go and like look to my boyfriend or look to my niece who she took to the show, and they wouldn't react the same way you would react, if it was you sitting there, enjoying the show. So it was a different experience. And I was like, man, you're exaggerating. Like, whatever, it's the show. Like, I'm gonna enjoy it regardless. And when I finally went and saw Hamilton, yes, it was everything I could have dreamt of and more. But it was that I was definitely missing my best friend. Like, and it was the same thing. I would look over to Linton, my boyfriend, and like, he's definitely not into musical theater the way that I'm into musical theater. And I would look over to him, and obviously I was crying the entire time. So much so that the people in front of me, like sitting in front of us, like kept looking back to make sure I wasn't like dying, because I legitimately started crying from like curtain to curtain. Like, it was bad.
I was gonna say overture.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, the second act was definitely worse. I'm surprised I didn't like pass out of dehydration, but that's besides the point. But it's the truth. Like, I would look over, and like something cool would happen on stage, like a really cool like choreography move or something would happen, and I would look over to Linton because I was excited, and like he should be just as excited, but he's not because he didn't catch it, and it's a completely different experience, and a different experience when you go with different people.
So I saw Newsies with Gina, and so Newsies is probably me and Gina's show. Like, we are obsessed with it. We're actually gonna go see Andrew Keenan Bolger.
Proud of you.
Let me try that again. I just got way too excited that I said his name correctly. We're actually gonna go see Andrew Keenan. What?
For those of you that don't know, Becca struggles to say his name because she just wants to refer to him as his Instagram handle.
Which is Blogger, not Bolger. They're too similar. It's annoying. Well, anyway, we actually are going to go see him in Little Shop of Horrors in Massachusetts next month. And it is huge because Crutchy is one of my favorite characters of all time. But I digress. So her and I went to go see Newsies in January, I want to say. And now, mind you, this is a teen production of Newsies, which truly was like the greatest experience of my life. And it was so cool seeing teenagers be teenagers. Like, it wasn't like I was seeing teenagers play 40-year-olds. I mean, obviously there was a teenager playing the adults too, but like, it wasn't like I was seeing teenagers play 40-year-olds. I was literally seeing a 17-year-old kid play Jack Kelly and say the line, "Trapped where there ain't no future, even at 17." And like,
sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. Literally, like, truly life-changing experience. And also the kid was incredible. So Santa Fe comes on, and now that is one of our favorite songs of all time. And her and I are like already like tearing up. We're getting so excited. And now both of us are also teachers, because I teach dance and she teaches special ed. And so like we both have like that passion for like kids succeeding. And so we're both so excited for him. He's hitting all of the notes he's supposed to hit. And we clench hands right at the high note, right before the high note for Santa Fe. And we're just like, come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. Hit that note. Come on, you can do it. And then he hits the note that like Jeremy Jordan even says that he has a hard time hitting. And both of us just start
sobbing.
Literally sobbing. Just in the back, we don't know this kid. Like, we don't know anything about him. And yet, we're just sobbing. And so that, like, I saw it again with my, the same cast, with my mom and my cousin, too. And it just, like, I mean, I loved seeing it because my little cousin is in my musical theater class. And, like, we did Newsies this year. So it was cool to take her so that she could see, like, the show that we'd been, you know, working on. And so that was like a cool experience in itself, but like it wasn't the same as seeing it with like someone who loves it just as much as you do and is like mouthing the words and is like so in love. Like, it's truly like one of the best experiences of my life was that night. Just like seeing it with someone who loves something as much as you do.
Well, that's freaking awesome. Like, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about like going to go see another show. Like any other show.
Well, Iny, guess what I realized today?
What, Becca?
What show am I seeing at the end of the month?
What day is it today? You're seeing Aladdin at the end of the month.
And what month is it?
June. Pride month. Oh my god, I hate you!
Yeah. Oh. I get a gay bill. I'm so excited.
A pride playbill.
No, a gay bill. Okay? Listen.
A pride playbill.
Listen, they call it a gay bill on Instagram.
Okay.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna actually die.
Can you get me one?
No.
Wow. Cool. Friendship over. Podcast over. Nice knowing you.
Just kidding. They're free. Of course you can have one.
Do you know that Playbill sells them for $15 on their website?
Playbills?
$15. Yeah.
That's silly. They're free.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because I'm currently in the process of trying to figure out how to display all of my playbills in my office. So I was, like, looking up, like, you know, playbill-specific frames, or, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And it led me to, like, the Playbill website. And they actually sell the playbills for $15. You can buy all of the Pride ones. But they're $15 each. Like, what? What?
We have enough friends that go to New York shows often enough that I'd be like, yo, can you send me one? Thanks.
Looking at you, Alana.
You know, I'm so upset. This is just already the Jeremy Jordan Queens episode because I was about to bring him up again.
No.
He
will have his own dedicated episode.
But I'm so upset that I literally had the opportunity to go see him in Waitress. And the only time I could go would have been recital weekend. And so obviously I couldn't go because I had to be at recital.
You can go see Colleen and Todrick.
It's not as exciting.
It's not, but it's still exciting.
This is related. Kind of. I'm going to walk you through my thought process.
Okay, go.
Jeremy Jordan in Things. Jeremy Jordan is in Newsies. Who is also in Newsies. Andrew Keenan Bolger, who I'm seeing next month. I've already talked about this. But did I tell you that I saw Andrew Keenan Bolger like right at the beginning of his equity time when he was in High School Musical as my favorite character, Ryan Evans. I almost forgot his last name. I had to think of what Sharpay's last name was. But I saw him in like 2008.
That's so long ago.
I know. So what if I brought my High School Musical playbill and had him sign it?
Oh my god, you should totally do that. You guys will have a moment if you bring him your High School Musical playbill and be like, I saw you 11 years ago, and can you sign this?
And literally, okay, so this is gonna sound like I'm being dramatic. I'm always dramatic, but it's fine.
You? No.
Never. But my favorite character in High School Musical is Ryan Evans. Like, I just think I love him. I love Lucas Grabeel. I just love that character. And the person that made me love him was literally Andrew Keenan Bolger when I saw him in High School Musical. That's crazy. And then he was Crutchy. And now I just love him and his husband. And also, I've never seen Little Shop, so maybe this will be another one of my new favorite musicals. I'm dying. I'm actually dead.
No, you're not.
I might be. You don't know.
I'm literally staring at you.
I could be a ghost.
I mean, you're white enough.
Whoa! Everyone's a little bit racist sometimes.
Oh my god. I definitely think you should take the playbill with you.
But
because you're going to stage door. No, it's not. How is it creepy?
I don't know.
It's not creepy.
It literally like blew my mind when I figured it out. I died.
I definitely think you should take the playbill with you. Have him sign it. You guys will totally have the most adorable moment when you stage door, because you're going to stage door.
Yeah.
All right, then.
I get to meet Andrew Keenan Bolger and Ben Levi Ross next month.
You're going to have a good month.
Is it just me, or am I having a good year? That's a Jonas Brothers song, but it's still relevant.
No, it's not!
Listen, the Jonas Brothers are always relevant.
No, they're not. They haven't been for like 10 years.
They are back and better than ever.
I'm not
Alexa!
saying...
No, I'm just kidding. Alexa, quiet. Okay, she shut off. I'm like that walking meme. Like, you remember that meme that's like, that word, I don't want to say it again because then I'll wake her up.
Okay.
Play, whatever.
Yes.
I don't know how to explain that meme.
Alexa, play Careless Whisper.
Okay, good. What's that?
That's from Glam and Gore. She's a YouTuber, and I'm obsessed with her, and anybody else who watches her would understand that reference.
I'm obsessed with Cat Steele, who similarly, sure, she was sitting next to the Jonas Brothers when she saw Beetlejuice.
Okay.
She's cool. Shout out Tori Wood for letting me know that, and now I'm hooked on her.
I need to hop on that because I haven't watched any of her videos.
Oh my gosh, she's so good. She's so great. I'll send you a link.
Okay. Also, we love Tori Wood.
I love Tori Wood. Tori so Wood. A moment of silence for our Lord and Savior Tori Wood. She's our matron, and Jeremy Jordan's our patron.
Are we sure? Like, are we committing to that?
No.
Okay, good. I feel like that's gonna change, like, every other episode.
Yeah, because they're the loves of my life.
Oh my god, here we go.
Listen, listeners. Okay, listen. I sometimes, occasionally.
Only occasionally.
to say that people are the loves of my life.
Only every other word.
Listen, I haven't said it this whole episode.
You have it. I'm proud of you. Thanks.
So, for all the overage friends out there, take a shot every time I say love of my life.
No, actually, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Please
You'll die. And for all my underage friends out there, take a shot of apple juice.
Okay. I was like, we're not condoning underage drinking on this show.
I can't. I'm a teacher. I can't do that.
I am not a teacher. I'm still not going to do that. Looking at you, Tori Wood.
Oh, yeah. Literally Tori Wood. Tori Wood, don't drink alcohol. Okay, Iny, I think we killed that episode. What do you think?
I'm happy that this
that sounded so convincing.
Guys, I'm unsure about everything in my life. This is not
Whereas
new.
I'm just like, that was great. I think we did amazing.
And I'm just like, I guess. No, I think this went very well. I hope everybody out there enjoyed our first episode. And if you did, please continue to listen.
Absolutely.
All right, so I guess we should wrap it up. You can follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at SincerelyUsPod. You can
Good
follow
job.
me on Instagram and Twitter at _Iny Meeny. That's INYMEENY.
You can follow me on Instagram because let's be real, I don't use Twitter. I mean, you can follow me on Twitter, but I don't use Twitter. At Becca Edos, BECCAEDDOWS. And take Elfie's advice that she learns in Defying Gravity. Trust your instincts, close your eyes, and leap.
Sincerely, us.